Welcome to the MamasteFit Birth Prep Workout. In this workout, we're going to be primarily focusing on creating more space in the bottom of the pelvis, known as the pelvic outlet. This is where your baby's going to come out of when you are pushing, and so primarily we want to focus on creating more space down here as we are pushing our baby out. The bottom of the pelvis opens more with internal hip rotation on both sides with adduction, which means that the knees are coming in, ankles are going out, and it's going to spread these two sits bones further apart side to side. The muscles that help you pull your pelvis into internal rotation are going to be the hamstring muscles, or the muscles on the back side of your thigh, in addition to the adductor muscle or the inner thigh musculature. So that all helps you to find that internal hip rotation with adduction to help create more space side to side in the bottom of your pelvis. Now, to create more space in the bottom of your pelvis from front to back, we want to be able to pull that sacrum backwards. So particularly the tailbone area, we want to move back, and we can do that with more lat tension. And so we don't want to pull so much that we come into an anterior tilt, because this could impact how well we can open the bottom of the pelvis, because internal hip rotation tends to be easier with a slight posterior pelvic tilt or tucking underneath of our butt. And so we want to be able to generate that lat tension in a more neutral spine position to help pull this sacrum backwards. In addition to helping our sacrum move, we want to focus on releasing tension in the pelvic floor musculature that attach around the sacrum tailbone area. And so in the workout, we're going to be focusing a lot on pelvic floor release as well. In this outlet opening workout, we're going to be focusing on strengthening the hamstring musculature with banded good mornings. So you'll place a band around your neck and your feet, and we're going to push our hips back and then exhale to come up, feeling this big stretch and contraction in the back of the thighs. We're then going to move into banded archer rows, which is going to be a lat strengthening exercise with a banded row, plus a pelvic floor release exercise so that it's easier for our sacrum to move. We're then going to finish the workout with the standing hip shift to move, where we're going to be focusing on releasing tension in the back half of our pelvic floor to, one, make it easier for you to find internal hip rotation, and then two, make it easier for your sacrum to move. For this workout, we're going to need a long loop resistance band to use for the banded good mornings. You can use the same one for the banded row, or you can use a lighter band for the banded row, and then you'll also need a yoga block for the standing hip shift. For this workout, we're going to do 4 rounds of each of these exercises. The banded good mornings will be 1 minute each, and then all of the other exercises will be 30 seconds per side. Once you've gathered all of your equipment, let's go ahead and get started with round number 1 of this workout. So we'll start round number 1 with the banded good mornings. So you'll take your long resistance band, you'll step into it, and then you're going to place it behind your neck. So this is going to give you some feedback or resistance for your hamstrings. And then we're going to keep those knees stacked over the ankles as we exhale to push the hips back, and then inhale to extend and push the hips forward. So inhale back, exhale to come forward, but really trying to keep those knees stacked here. So at the bottom, feeling more of a stretch in the hamstring, and then exhale to come up to feel like your glutes are kind of tightening at the top. So we're not keeping the legs super straight as we go down. There is a bend in the knee, but not so much that we're squatting at the bottom. Go ahead and release the band, and now we're going to move into our archer rows. So with the archer row, I'm going to hold the band in my hand, and then I'm going to step my left foot forward and right foot back. So my right leg is going to be my target leg that I'm going to shift into. Hands are going to be out in front, and then exhale to row that right arm back as you press forward with the left, and inhale to come forward. Exhale to row back. Inhale to come forward. So as I shift back, I'm thinking weight is in that right big toe. And then I'm kind of crunching a little to that right side. Get ready to switch. So go ahead and switch the left foot back, and I'm driving that left arm back as I row and pressing that right hand forward. Keeping weight in the big toe of that left foot now. So almost like your left foot is like spiraling down. And now we're gonna move into our hip shifts. So grabbing onto your yoga block, you're going to stand one foot onto the block. So I'm putting my left foot onto that block. And then I'm gonna shift my weight into that left foot. So my hips are kind of coming back diagonally here, so not straight back, a little to the side. I'm rotating belly to thigh, and with that right hand, you can kind of reach across to help with that rotation. And then think tons of weight in that left big toe. And so this is gonna help you kind of spiral up your leg into your upper body. And we're primarily trying to feel a big stretch in this like glute area. You might feel a little bit more in that hamstring. So this is helping to release the pelvic floor. And now reach the arms forward to extend in the hip and then come back into that hip shift. So the whole time, think weight is in that big toe on the left foot. You can use your arms to help you move into extension and then come back to rotation. So that left arm swings back. So I have that rotation in my upper body. And because I'm keeping weight in that big toe, it's keeping this hip in internal rotation. Let's go ahead and switch sides now. So weight is now in that right foot. I'm thinking more weight in that right big toe as I shift my weight to the right side. So belly is rotating towards that thigh. This leg is in more internal rotation. Reaching across with that left arm. Keeping lots of weight in that right big toe. So that's the key for these hip shifts. We want to think about where we're pressing weight in our foot. And it's primarily going to be to the big toe side, which is going to help that leg come into more internal hip rotation. 5 seconds, we'll move to those movement portion. So extend the hips and then swing that right arm back to come back into that hip shift. So reach forward to extend and then shifting back. Keeping weight in that right big toe. That's going to help you keep that hip in internal rotation and help you shift into it as well. Let's move on to round number 2, back to the banded good morning. So we're doing the banded good mornings for 1 minute and all of the other ones for about 30 seconds per movement. So I'm going to step into my band. So I've formed like that little triangle. And again, I'm thinking push the hips back to feel that big stretch in the hamstring, and then exhale, come on up. Inhale to lower, exhale to push the hips up. So the hamstrings play a big role in pulling your pelvis into internal hip rotation. Your muscles only have the ability to pull bones into different positions. They can't push them. And so while we do want to incorporate the release movements, such as the hip shifts, to release tension within the pelvic floor that may be pulling the pelvis into more external rotation, we also want to think about strengthening the muscles that help us pull our pelvis into internal hip rotation. And that's primarily going to be the hamstrings and the adductors, the inner thighs. Go ahead and come out of the band, and now we're moving to those archer rows. So with the archer row, we're adding a banded row movement to help us move deeper into one hip. So I'm going to put more weight into my right leg, and I'm going to row back with that right arm. So weight's in the big toe, shifting into that hip as I row the band back, And then inhale, come forward. I'm rotating in the upper body as I press and pull, and this is helping me to rotate in my hips, which helps me shift into that hip a little bit more. 5 seconds, we'll switch sides. Let's go ahead and switch sides, left foot back, row back with that left hand, and then again, think weight in the left big toe. And then as I'm pushing my hips back, I'm coming back at like a slight diagonal. So hips are not coming straight back. They're coming back at this little angle. Moving on to the standing hip shift with move. So I'm going to start with my left foot on that yoga block. This is just helping me to come into a little bit deeper. I'm going to think shift my weight into that hip as I rotate my belly to thigh. Again, weights in that big toe. This is a common theme. Reaching forward with that right arm to help with that rotation. So it's adding more rotation to my upper body to kind of counter that internal rotation of that leg. Big inhale into kind of like this lower back area. Exhale, think pull baby to spine. Big inhale into your back. 3 seconds, and we'll move to the movement. Reach the arms forward to extend in the hip, and then shift back into that leg, keeping weight in that big toe. So I'm using my left arm to help with that rotation of my upper body. So I have that kind of spiral or the counter spiral to the internal rotation of my leg. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So now we're coming to the right foot on our yoga block. I'm going to shift my weight back. So think weight in that big toe, reaching across with that left arm. So it's giving me that counter rotation to that internal rotation of my leg. Breathe into that lower back. And then exhale, think lift baby to spine. So inhale into your lower back area. Exhale, lift baby out. And then reach the arms forward to extend in the hip. Exhale, come back. Keeping weight in that big toe. Using the arms to help you rotate in the upper body. Let's moving on to round number 3. So we're going to do 4 total rounds back to that banded good morning. So I'm stepping both my feet into the band and then bring the other one on top of my neck. Knees stay stacked. Push those hips back and then exhale, come on up. Inhale to lower down. Exhale to come on up. So really trying to keep the knees on top of the ankles as the hips go backwards. So almost like you were trying to like sit down in a chair. And at the bottom, the torso is like parallel to the floor. So like you're trying to touch your chest to the floor. Let's go ahead and move on to those archer rows. And so this is a lat strengthening exercise that's also helping me to release some tension within my pelvic floor. So weights in that right foot more to the big toe side. And I'm going to row back with the right hand. Exhale, row back as you press forward with the left. Inhale, extend the hips. So tension in the lats can help to pull the bottom of the sacrum backwards, which can create more space front to back in the bottom of the pelvis. 5 seconds, we'll switch sides. Let's go ahead and switch. So left foot is back, rowing back with that left arm. So as we're preparing for pushing or creating space in the bottom part of the pelvis, strengthening the lat musculature is really important. And then these hip shifts help to release some tension in the back half of the pelvic floor to make it easier for your sacrum to move. Let's move on to the standing hip shift with move. So we'll start with that left foot. Shifting my weight into that left foot, think belly is coming to thigh. And then reach across with that right arm. So I have this rotation in the upper body that counters the rotation in the lower body. Weights in that left big toe. And then think inhale into your low back, so you slightly round in it. And then exhale, pull baby to spine. Now reach the arms forward to extend in the hip, and then we're going to alternate between our hip shift and our hip extension. Using that left arm to help you move forward and backwards in the upper body. And then weight is still in that big toe. So we have that counter rotation in the upper body, kind of spiraling with the rotation of that lower body to bring you deeper into that hip. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So now right foot is on the block. I'm going to shift my weight towards that hip as I bring belly to thigh. So feeling more of a stretch in this like glute hamstring area. And then reach across as you keep weight in that big toe on the right side. So big inhale into like the low back part of your pelvic floor, almost like you're trying to push it out. And then exhale, lift up in the belly. Big inhale into your low back. Exhale, lift baby up. Five seconds, we'll shift to the movement. Reaching the arms forward and then coming back to that hip shift. Arms helping with that upper body rotation, but keeping weight in that right big toe to help with that internal hip rotation. So hip shifts help to release tension in the back half of your pelvic floor, which can influence how well your sacrum can move to create space in the bottom part of your pelvis. Let's move into our final round, back to those banded good mornings. So we've got 1 minute of this hamstring strengthening exercise. Really, any hinge exercise can help to strengthen the hamstring. So the same movement, but with weight, with bands. Inhale, push those hips back. Exhale, stand up. Inhale, hips back. Exhale, come on up. So think knees are staying stacked over the ankles. Try to bring your belly to the floor or your chest to the floor. 5 seconds, and we'll move on to the archer rows. Go ahead and release that band. And moving on to the archer row. You can use the same band for the good mornings. I'm just using a slightly smaller one. So we'll start with that right leg back. That's the leg I'm shifting my weight into to release that back half of the pelvic floor. And then row back with the right arm. Exhale to row as you shift the weight into that right hip. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, come back. And then think weight is in that right big toe. So I have this rotation in my upper body, belly towards that right thigh. And then a opposite rotation in my right leg. 5 seconds, we'll switch sides. Go ahead and switch left foot back. Drive back that left arm. Inhale to come up. Finishing up with the standing hip shift. So grabbing on to your yoga block, we'll start on that left side. So left foot is on the yoga block. I'm going to shift my weight into that hip, bring a little bit more weight into that left big toe, and then reach forward with that right hand. So again, we have that counter rotation moving into each other to meet at this back part of your hip to release tension in that back pelvic floor. So big inhale into your low back. Exhale, pull belly up. Five seconds and we'll move to the movement portion. Reaching the arms forward to extend in the hip and then shifting back. Keeping weight in that big toe side of that left foot. Left arm is what's swinging back and forth. So again, we have that rotation in the upper body, countering the rotation in the hip to really come into that back half of the pelvic floor on the left side. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So right foot is now on the block. Shifting my weight to that right hip, more weight in that right big toe, and then reaching across with my arm. So big inhale into the low back to slightly round here, almost like you're trying to push your low back out. And then exhale, think lift up in belly to help you round just a little bit more. Ten seconds and we'll move to the movement portion. Reaching the arms forward and then shifting back. Keeping weight in that right big toe the entire time. Right arm swings back and comes forward. So helping you to find that upper body rotation. 10 seconds to go. And that concludes today's workout. We hope that you enjoyed this outlet opening workout and that you feel that your pelvic floor is a little bit more released and relaxed, that your lats and hamstrings feels like they got a decent workout in, and that you feel more prepared and educated on how to create more space in the bottom part of your pelvis. Thank you again for choosing us to support you throughout your pregnancy.